There is a quiet panic most men live with. It doesn't show on their face. It doesn't come out in conversation, but it's there every time the phone buzzes, every time a bill arrives, every time the future feels uncertain. It's the panic of knowing that no matter how hard you work, money still controls your mood. One unexpected expense can ruin your week. One slow month can destroy your confidence. One bad decision can follow you for years. And the worst part is this: you've been told this is normal. You've been told that stress is just part of life, that debt is unavoidable, that instability is temporary, that one day somehow things will magically work themselves out. But if that were true, most people wouldn't stay stuck in the same financial position for decades. The truth is uncomfortable, so it's rarely spoken. Most men don't have a money problem. They have a self-governance problem. They react instead of command. They spend before they decide. They earn without structure, save without intention, and plan only when panic forces them to. Money becomes emotional. Emotional money becomes chaos, and chaos never compounds. Benjamin Franklin understood this long before modern finance existed. He was born with nothing, no inheritance, no safety net, no shortcuts. What he had instead was something far more powerful, an obsession with order. Franklin noticed something most people miss. Wealth does not come from intelligence. It does not come from effort alone. And it certainly does not come from motivation. It comes from systems that remove emotion. Look at the average man today. He earns money when he feels pressure. He saves money when he feels afraid. He invests money when he feels hopeful. And he spends money when he feels stressed. His financial life is driven entirely by mood. That is not freedom. That is servitude. Franklin believed something radical for his time: that a man who cannot govern himself should never expect to govern wealth. Before he ever spoke about money, Franklin spoke about discipline. Before he ever built income, he built routine. Before he ever multiplied capital, he multiplied order. He treated money the same way a general treats supplies. Nothing emotional, nothing impulsive, nothing wasted. Modern culture tells you to chase money. Franklin would have considered that foolish. You don't chase what should obey you. Here is the part most people resist. If money feels unstable in your life, it's because you are, not morally, structurally. Your income reacts to circumstance. Your spending reacts to emotion. Your future reacts to chance. That is not a financial strategy. That is gambling disguised as adulthood. Franklin rejected this entirely. He believed money should grow quietly, predictably, and relentlessly. Not through risk, not through excitement, but through repetition so boring it scares people away. That's why his system feels ancient, because it has nothing to do with trends. It has everything to do with identity. Franklin did not ask, "How can I make more money?" He asked a far more dangerous question: "What kind of man makes money inevitable?" Most people never ask that. They want tactics. They want shortcuts. They want leverage without discipline. Franklin wanted law. Law removes negotiation, law removes emotion, law removes excuses. And when money is governed by law, it multiplies whether you feel like it or not. This is where discomfort begins, because adopting this system means abandoning the fantasy that money problems are external. It means accepting that inconsistency is expensive, that emotional decisions are liabilities, that freedom requires structure before it ever delivers comfort. Franklin tracked everything, not because he was obsessive, but because what you do not track, you do not command. Time, energy, reputation, money. He treated all four as currencies. Lose control of one, and the others follow. This is why most people stay broke in ways numbers can't explain. They leak energy, they waste time, they damage reputation, and then they wonder why money never stays. Franklin would have said the answer is obvious. You cannot multiply what you cannot hold. Before money can grow, it must obey. And obedience does not come from motivation. It comes from structure repeated daily until it becomes identity. This is the part that separates normal men from dangerous ones. Normal men react to money. Dangerous men regulate it. Normal men hope. Dangerous men schedule. Normal men wait for opportunity. Dangerous men prepare capacity. Franklin's system was not designed to make you rich fast. It was designed to make you unshakable forever. And that is why it still works, because the world has changed, but human weakness has not. In the next part, you'll understand the core of Franklin's financial constitution. Not advice, not theory, Law, the same internal system that allowed a poor printer to become one of the most financially sovereign men in history. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee the reason most people never escape financial anxiety. Benjamin Franklin's financial constitution. Benjamin Franklin did not trust motivation. He considered it unreliable, emotional, and dangerous. That alone puts him at odds with almost every modern idea about money. Today, people are told to feel inspired, to visualize success, to wait for confidence before acting. Franklin believed the opposite. He believed confidence was the result of structure, not the cause of it, and money followed the same rule. Franklin approached wealth the same way the founding fathers approached government, not as something to be hoped for, but something to be governed. This is the part history books skip. Franklin did not become wealthy by chasing opportunity. He became wealthy by eliminating disorder. He understood a principle that almost no one applies today. Money does not multiply. In freedom, it multiplies under constraint. Without rules, money escapes. With rules, money compounds. That is why Franklin created what we can call a financial constitution, not written law, but internal law. A set of non-negotiable principles that removed emotion from every financial decision. Most men today live under financial chaos because they have no constitution. They decide based on mood. They react based on pressure. They adjust based on fear. Franklin removed all of that. His first rule was brutally simple. Never spend money you have not already decided how to spend. This sounds obvious, but almost no one lives this way. Most people decide after the fact. They buy first, then justify. They spend first, then rationalize. They regret later and call it a lesson. Franklin saw this as weakness. In his system, money never moved without permission. Every coin had an assignment before it arrived. This single rule separated him from most men, because it eliminated impulse. Impulse is the enemy of wealth. Impulse feels small in the moment, but it compounds negatively. One unnecessary purchase teaches your mind that emotion outranks principle. Repeat that long enough, and money will never obey you. Franklin understood that self-governance begins with friction. If spending is easy, saving is impossible. So he made spending inconvenient. He delayed purchases. He wrote them down. He waited days or weeks before committing. Not because he lacked money, but because he refused to let desire make decisions. This is where modern men struggle. They confuse convenience with freedom. Franklin knew convenience creates dependency, and dependency is the opposite of sovereignty. His second rule was even more dangerous. Never allow income to determine lifestyle. Most people live the other way around. They earn more, so they spend more. They upgrade comfort before upgrading control. Franklin called this a trap, because lifestyle inflation creates permanent pressure. The more you need, the more you fear losing. Franklin deliberately kept his lifestyle beneath his capacity, not out of deprivation, but out of leverage. Excess income was never wasted. It was stored, invested, or reinvested into skills, tools, or reputation. He treated surplus as power. Power not to consume, but to endure. This is why financial stress breaks most men. They build lives that require constant income just to survive. Franklin built a life that could survive disruption. That is the difference between earning money and commanding money. The third rule defined everything. Franklin believed money must serve long-term stability, not short-term pleasure. This single belief made him dangerous, because pleasure is loud. Stability is quiet. Pleasure impresses others. Stability protects you. Franklin chose protection. He invested in printing not because it was glamorous, but because it was reliable. He diversified income streams before diversification was a concept. He created redundancy, multiple incomes, multiple skills, multiple roles, so that no single failure could collapse his life. This was not paranoia. It was foresight. Franklin understood that risk is unavoidable, but fragility is optional. Most men gamble without realizing it. One income, one plan, one skill, and they call it focus. Franklin would have called it negligence. His financial constitution was designed to survive reality, illness, market shifts, political change, economic collapse. That's why it worked. It wasn't built for good times. It was built for chaos. Here's the part most people miss. Franklin never separated money from character. Modern culture tells you money is neutral. Franklin disagreed. He believed money magnifies who you already are. If you are disciplined, it makes you powerful. If you are reckless, it accelerates your downfall. That's why he obsessed over habits before wealth, wake times, work blocks, reading, reflection. Money followed order, always. This is where people misunderstand Franklin entirely. They see a man who became wealthy. They miss the man who became structured. Wealth was a side effect. The real achievement was internal sovereignty. Franklin governed himself so thoroughly that money had no choice but to comply. And this is the uncomfortable truth. If money resists you, it's because your life lacks law, not external law, internal. No constitution, no discipline, no structure, just reaction. In the next part, you'll see how Franklin applied this constitution daily, not in theory, in execution. The exact behaviors that turned order into accumulation. The same behaviors that, if applied today, would separate you from 99% of men chasing money emotionally instead of commanding it structurally. The daily money discipline that builds fortunes quietly. Benjamin Franklin did not think about money the way modern men do. He did not chase it. He did not obsess over it. He did not emotionally attach his worth to it. Instead, he treated money as a byproduct of daily discipline. This is the difference that changes everything. Most people believe wealth is created in big moments. A lucky break, a perfect opportunity, a bold risk. Franklin believed wealth was created in boring repetition, small decisions, daily structure, relentless consistency. He once wrote that great things are built from small advantages accumulated daily. This was not poetry. It was a financial warning because most men leak money slowly and never notice. Franklin sealed every leak. His day was governed by questions, not feelings. Every morning began the same way. What good shall I do this day? That question controlled his behavior, and behavior controlled money. Franklin understood that income grows when time is respected. Wasted time is wasted money, even if you do not see it immediately. That is why he divided his day into strict blocks. Work, study, reflection, rest. Not flexible, not negotiable. Time was treated like capital. Once spent, it could not be recovered. Modern men scroll hours away and wonder why money feels scarce. Franklin would have seen this as insanity. He believed attention was more valuable than currency because attention determines where money eventually flows. This is why he protected his mornings. No chaos, no distraction, no negotiation. The most important work was done before the world demanded anything from him. This gave him a permanent advantage. While others reacted, he produced. Production always comes before profit. This principle alone separates builders from consumers. Franklin never started the day consuming. No gossip, no idle conversation, no indulgence. He built first. Only later did he allow comfort. This inverted order created momentum. Momentum creates income. Here is another uncomfortable truth. Franklin tracked his behavior, not his money. Most people watch their bank account and ignore their habits. Franklin did the opposite. He tracked virtues, industry, frugality, temperance, order, resolution. He believed money could not be managed if the man was disordered. This is where modern finance advice fails. It teaches tools without teaching restraint. Franklin knew restraint came first. Without it, every strategy collapses. He limited spending not by budgeting apps, but by identity. He did not ask, "Can I afford this?" He asked, "Is this consistent with the man I am becoming?" That single filter eliminated thousands of bad decisions, because when identity is clear, choices are easy. When identity is weak, money disappears. Franklin also understood delayed reward. He deliberately postponed pleasure, not forever, strategically. He knew the man who can wait controls the man who cannot, and the man who controls desire controls wealth. Most people sell their future for present comfort. Franklin reversed the equation. He sacrificed present comfort to buy future freedom, and freedom, to him, was the highest currency. This is why he avoided debt like poison. Debt removes sovereignty. Debt puts your future labor in someone else's hands. Franklin believed this was a form of quiet slavery. He would rather live simply than owe extravagantly. Today, men finance lifestyles they cannot sustain and call it success. Franklin would have called it weakness. He believed true wealth was the ability to say no. No to bad deals. No to unnecessary stress. No to humiliation disguised as luxury. Every dollar saved increased his independence. Every skill learned increased his leverage. Every habit reinforced his control. This is how money multiplied, not explosively, inevitably. Franklin also understood reputation as capital. He guarded his word carefully. If he promised, he delivered. If he committed, he finished. This built trust. Trust attracted opportunity. Opportunity created income. Reputation is slow money, but it compounds more reliably than any investment. Franklin never chased quick profit at the cost of credibility. He played long games. Long games always favor the disciplined. This is why his wealth lasted. And here is the most important part. Franklin separated ego from income. He did not need to look rich. He needed to be stable. Modern culture teaches the opposite. Display success first, stability later. Franklin knew display drains capital. Silence preserves it. He moved quietly, worked consistently, improved daily, and let results speak without announcement. This is why his method still works. Because it is not dependent on trends. It is dependent on discipline. In the next part, everything tightens. You will see how Franklin transformed discipline into systems. Systems that run without motivation. Systems that protect money during stress. Systems that continue even when emotion collapses. This is where most men fail, and where unbreakable wealth begins. The multiplication phase. Most men never lose money because they are lazy. They lose money because they are undisciplined when it finally arrives. This is the part no one talks about. The phase where money starts listening to you. You saved when others consumed. You delayed pleasure when others chased comfort. You built order while others blamed the system. Now something changes, not externally, internally. Because money does not multiply for emotional men. It multiplies for governed men. The founding fathers understood this deeply. They did not believe wealth was created by luck, talent, or speed. They believed wealth was a consequence of character under pressure. That is why their system was never about chasing opportunity. It was about positioning yourself so opportunity could not ignore you. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most modern men want money to rescue them. The ancient American system demands that you become worthy of command first. Multiplication begins only after restraint becomes automatic. When saving no longer feels like sacrifice. When spending feels intentional, not emotional. When patience becomes instinct instead of effort. This is why sudden wealth destroys weak men. Because money amplifies who you already are. If you are chaotic, it makes you reckless. If you are insecure, it makes you arrogant. If you are disciplined, it makes you unstoppable. The founding fathers warned against this without ever using the word money. They spoke of virtue, of temperance, of self-command, because they knew something modern finance ignores. Capital flows toward order. Money seeks stability the same way armies seek strong ground. It does not follow excitement, it follows control. This is where the system separates men permanently. At this stage, you stop asking, how can I make money faster? And you start asking, how can I structure my life so money compounds without effort? This is the investor's mindset, but not the Wall Street caricature. The founding father investor was not a gambler. He was a steward. He did not chase trends. He positioned assets where time and discipline would do the work. Land, trade, production, skills that increased leverage, and most importantly, he avoided what destroyed others. Debt without purpose. Speculation without understanding, growth without foundation. He understood something modern culture refuses to teach. Speed is not power. Control is power. Multiplication does not mean risk everything. It means risk nothing that threatens your base. Your base is sacred. Your income streams, your reputation, your time, your physical and mental clarity. Anything that destabilizes the base is not opportunity. It is temptation. This is why the ancient system grows quietly. No screenshots, no flexing, no sudden explosions, just steady expansion. The kind that looks boring to outsiders, the kind that looks inevitable in hindsight. This is also where civic discipline returns. The founding fathers did not separate personal wealth from public responsibility. They believed a man who could not govern himself could not be trusted with power, influence, or capital. That belief still applies. If your life is disorderly, money becomes poison. If your life is ordered, money becomes leverage. This is why the final phase is not accumulation. It is insulation. You build buffers. You reduce dependency. You make decisions from strength, not need. You stop chasing income. You start designing independence. And independence changes how you move through the world. You say no faster. You wait longer. You negotiate from calm. Men can feel it when you no longer need their approval, their job, or their permission. This is the quiet authority of the Iron Republic. Not loud wealth, not desperate ambition, but grounded power, the kind that compounds across decades. The Founding Fathers played a long game because they thought in generations, not paychecks. They asked a different question than modern men. Not how rich can I get, but how strong can my position become? Strength attracts opportunity. Weakness attracts manipulation. This is the final inversion. You do not multiply money by chasing it. You multiply it by becoming the kind of man money serves. Disciplined, measured, unreactive, strategic. And once you reach this phase, you notice something strange. Money becomes quieter. Fear disappears. Urgency fades. You are no longer running, you are building. This is the ancient American system. Not a hack, not a shortcut, not a fantasy, but a framework forged by men who understood that freedom is not given. It is constructed slowly, deliberately, and permanently. If this system resonates with you, it is because part of you already knows it is true. You were not meant to live paycheck to paycheck forever. You were not meant to panic about the future. You were not meant to depend on systems that do not care if you survive. You were meant to govern yourself first, then your resources, then your legacy. This channel exists for men who reject financial chaos and choose discipline over noise. If you are ready to build wealth the old way, the hard way, the permanent way, then subscribe to Iron Republic. Here, we do not chase money. We build men strong enough that money follows. And if you stay until the end of this path, you will not just have more wealth. You will have something rarer: control.